Alrighty, we were supposed to watch Jose Urquidy pitch tonight, but unfortunately, a little bit of rain kind of watched those dreams away. And Brandon Bielack, he had a game to forget about. But you know who did not have a game to forget about? That was Yuli Gurriel. He had a grand slam, and we're going to talk about that more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Astros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Sometimes it be like that. Always Stros.
That's a good one there. So thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Keep on subscribing, keep us making us your first listen and your first view, I guess. And go ahead and listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast. So yeah, this was the first AT&T Sportsnet broadcast of the Houston Astros this spring, and it was delayed. But fortunately, they were able to play the game, and I know Yuli was glad that he was able to play. He got out earlier in the game and was having a little fun with the dugout, but he made up for it later. This dude is swinging a hot bat this spring, and he's looking great. You have some bats swinging really good. Lewis Brinson got another hit today. Kyle Tucker got a hit. And you know what? I want to talk about Kyle Tucker. Just imagine how good of a season he would have had if he didn't get off to that unlucky start last April. So we're going to talk a little bit about him potentially being MVP. I know you mentioned it the other day, but let's go deeper into that. And what did Hector Neris do for some of the younger Latino players that I don't think anybody's done on the Astros recently? So that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about on this podcast. So let's go and talk a little bit about the game so far.
Yeah.
What is the standouts?
So right now it is 10-6, and the Houston Astros are still playing as we're talking. So who knows? The score may change. Brandon Bielack came in, had a rough outing, 4 earned runs, 6 hits in only 2 innings pitched. After he left the mound, shortly after, you had Maton, Abreu, and France. They all came in, had 2 strikeouts each. Hernandez came in 2/3 of an inning with 1 strikeout. That was excellent. What was cool was friend of the show and former guest Joe Perez was 2 for 2 today at third base. Also, Santana came in after him, was 2 for 2 as well. So third
with
base
a home
was,
run too.
Yes,
we got to see
yeah.
that.
So
I'm like, who's number 97?
Right. So he was. So that position was 4 for 4 with the home run with 4 RBIs. So that's really good to see. You mentioned Brinson. It's good to see him get off the schneid. But what I love to see is, and I know this is spring training, and there's not too much you really can read into it, but it's good when the guys are getting double-digit hits. It's good when the pitchers, when the strikeouts are breaking into the 9, 10, 11, strikeout range per game. You want to see that. You want to see this team start hitting, and we just need to know that these guys are comfortable at the plate. Some guys are going over. I wouldn't read into that. Just because Joe Perez is hitting 667 doesn't mean he's going to have this fast rise just because of that, or someone's batting 0 right now because they haven't gotten a hit. Really, it doesn't play into the grand scheme of things, but you want to know that your guys' timing is down. You want to know that the pitchers are looking sharp. And if the threat of rain wasn't there, Jose Urquidy would have thrown, but he did throw in the backfields. Like you said, he threw on the backfields. He got a simulated game in, so Bielack went out there. And Bielack, so much upside, so much promise, so much a lot of scouts really saw and see major league stuff in this guy. He's really struggled. He's really struggled the last season and a half. This is a guy that really, if he can turn it around, Eric, during the regular season, he can really help this Astros team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Astros have a lot of depth in the minor leagues, and he is one of those. You have Bryan Abreu, he pitched today, and JP France. I know that he struggled towards the end, but he was dealing for a little bit. In fact, I made a thumbnail, and I was going to put that JP France was dealing, and then all of a sudden he gave up the 2-run double, and I'm like, Eric
See,
Heisman's
you
at
didn't
it
have to.
again,
See,
and
you didn't have
he's
to out yourself
jinxing
there.
in spring training already, jinxing in the playoffs, jinxing in spring training. It's okay. I mean, it's
You're
not a
pulling
big
a
deal.
McTaggart preseason, so you don't do it during the regular season,
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly what's happening here. So, but JP France is going to be probably in the rotation, and then if not this year, if not next year, he's in the near future. But this kid is got a great arm. He knows how to pitch, and he showed a lot of great stuff. And he's got an awesome little mustache there, and he's got a baseball player's mustache. So, I think we're going to see him in the big leagues pretty soon. So, and overall, I would say that Bryan Abreu looks like. He's here to stay. And so Jake
Well, he's
Kaplan,
out of options.
yeah,
Abreu's out of options, so he has to. If he doesn't, he's either a trade piece or he's. I mean, he doesn't have anywhere else to go.
right. So speaking of which, I do want to say that the Astros don't need Carlos Correa anymore. You know why?
Why is
They
that?
have a savior. His name is Franklin Barreto,
Oh wow,
former
okay.
top prospect. He signed a minor league deal with the Houston Astros. This was a guy who was a former top prospect. He played with Oakland A's from 2017 to 2020 with a brief stint with the Angels in 2020. He has a career, you ready? A career OPS of 549
God, Eric.
in 237 plate appearances. And for those of y'all who love the batting average, like Brett Chancey, he has a career 175 batting average. So
Hold on, wait. Well, why would you throw my name with a guy? Come on, man. This is the
I'm just
second.
kidding.
I
I'm
know,
just
second night
kidding.
in a row, dude. You're like getting, dude. It's okay, man. You know what is a, you know what? Anyways,
And he's
this is
wearing
a.
the unlucky number 13.
Well, these are all depth moves. I think the Brinson and the Goodrum signing are more calculated in that they know he's going to help. But the reason why the Astros do this, they have a history of this,
Right.
is they get these guys like you mentioned, which is important. He's a former top prospect. And what you do in these depth moves is you hope that one of these guys or two of these guys is someone who can contribute. And as much as we hated on or loved someone like Robel Garcia, he came in a regular season game and got a walk-off hit. He actually contributed at some point. And so even if you can get a couple things out of these guys or you can find a diamond in the rough, who knows? And if he's at a position that's already stacked and he turns out to have a decent run for a few weeks, maybe use him as a trade piece at the trade deadline. So the Astros are always making smart moves like this. And obviously he's no Carlos Correa. And I know you're kind of bantering about with we don't need him because we got this guy. The Astros know what they're doing. I know a lot of people, the jury's out on Jim Click because of what happened with Carlos, but I still trust the guy. He definitely knows a lot more than we do because who's the GM? Not us, him.
Yeah, definitely. He could be this year's Jacob Wilson, maybe. He could come up at some point. I know Jacob Wilson was a career
Jacob,
minor leaguer.
you love Jacob Wilson.
No, I don't. I'm just trying to bring up these obscure
No, you're right.
names, and
But they're
I don't
hoping
want to
that
name the
they
other guy. You
actually.
already said the other guy, so I'm not going
Well,
to name
no,
him.
and the only reason why I mentioned him was because he actually did have a walk-off hit. He actually did contribute
Which is
at
why
some
I
point.
started a fan club just out of fun. So
Hey,
uh,
man,
it
that is your
was,
ride or die right there, buddy.
but somebody already said, I think it was World Traveler. Somebody online on Twitter said, no, it was somebody said on Twitter today, Eric, is this Robel Garcia 2.0? I'm
I
like,
saw that and I was like, yes, thank you. Hey, it's not me doing it, man. This is your dude. These are your fans. These are your people, Eric,
right.
and I think you should embrace it. Um,
Hey,
it
I'm not
what's that?
sure if you were talking about Bryan Abreu, but Jake Kaplan came out with his projected roster, and guess
Okay,
who's not on it?
Bryan Abreu.
Bryan Abreu. So I do
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
kind of
he's
talk
out of
about.
options. I mean,
Yeah,
here's the thing: if he doesn't, I think if he doesn't make he doesn't have minor league options.
right.
I believe he has to be on the roster, or
We can look that up in a
I
second.
think
But
he's have to
speaking,
DF. I think he's gone if he doesn't.
maybe you're right. I'll look that up in a second. But you know what? You could have some Built Bars too.
You know what? I always have Built Bars. You know why? Because they're the best tasting protein bar in the land. They are wrapped in 100% chocolate. They're good for you. You don't have to worry about your macros. You don't have to worry about breaking your diet, like just ruining it, because these Built Bars are chock full of flavor, chock full of healthy stuff like protein, and they're not chock full of sugar and carbs. Not all carbs are bad, but if you're filling your belly with a ton of candy bars, those are not good carbs. So get 4 to 5 grams of carbs, get 4 to 5 grams of sugar, 130 calories, maybe to 160, or get the Built Puff, the first protein infused marshmallow puff, cinnamon churro. Dude, I had brownie batter puff today. It was off the charts. I hadn't had it. It was the first time. It was a sample box that we got, and I absolutely loved it. So if you haven't tried Built Bar, you need to rush to your computer or open your phone and go to built.com. Use the promo code LOCKS15 for 15% off your order. I'm serious. These are the best protein bars in the land. If you have protein bars that aren't Built Bars, give them to your neighbors. Go order Built Bar online, 15% off. Use the promo code LOCKS15 and get the discount. Start consuming them the second you get them. Built.com, the best bar in the biz.
Alrighty, so I'm looking at Fangraphs roster resources, and it does look like Bryan Abreu has 0 options.
He does.
So, um,
Yeah. So if he's not on this club, he's Gandhi. And here's the thing, Eric. I know Jake Kaplan projects him not to be here, but why wouldn't you at least give the guy one more shot?
right.
I mean, he's got the stuff. He just hasn't been able to find the strike zone consistently enough. The potential and the reports and what this guy's supposed to do is phenomenal, but he just
Right.
hasn't done them.
All right, so here's Jake Kaplan's roster. We can go ahead and go over this real quick, and then you can tell me if you agree or not. It's Justin Verlander in the rotation, Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, and Jake Odorizzi. No big surprises there. In the rotation, in the bullpen, it's going to be Ryan Presley, Hector Neris, Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, Rafael Montero, Blake Taylor, Pedro Baez, Christian Javier, Brandon Bielack, and Seth Martinez. That's
I
kind of
mean, I don't have a problem with that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my projections here in a couple of weeks of
yeah,
the pitching, because I want to see who all is being sent to minor league camp, because there are guys that were moved to minor league camp designated for assignment today, not assignment, but designated to the minor leagues, like Tyler Ivey, like
yeah,
like like Peter Solomon. So I want to see who else they are sending to to the, to the minor leagues, guys like that will start in Sugarland rather than with the big league club.
right. So the infielders are going to be Yuli Gurriel, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Jeremy Pena, Aledmus Diaz, and Nico Goodrum. That's obvious. Michael Brantley, Kyle Tucker, Chaz McCormick, Jordan Alvarez, and Jose Siri.
Okay.
And then catching situation is kind of weird. He's got Martin Maldonado and Jason Castro. I mean, that's just
Why
so
not?
confusing. I'm just kidding.
Well, I thought you were. Oh, I literally was shocked. I was like, wait, is he being serious? Like, who did you think Paparizzi was gonna take somebody's spot there? Which, Pappy, they say they
Yeah,
say they say this kid's good. Corey Lee needs more time in the
yeah.
minors, but let me tell you, when Corey Lee's ready, he's coming. When they unleash that bull out of the pen, dude, he is gonna wreak havoc on this league.
Yeah. So I'm not so sold on. I know you need a long reliever, but I would think that Christian Javier would be that. Seth Martinez, I know he's got some stuff, but
So
I
they
think
have. So wait, did you not say Martinez, or did you not say Christian Javier?
Christian Javier is on there.
Oh, he's
But
on there. Okay.
I don't think you would need Brandon Bielack and Seth Martinez on there. I really think that
Okay. How many pitchers?
give Bryan
Question.
Abreu
How
a
many
chance.
pitchers does he have?
He has 15.
15 pitchers? They're not going to go with 15 pitchers. They'll go with 14, I think. I don't see them going with 15. Because you've got what, a 28-man roster, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Through May 1st. So yeah, like I said, I haven't really gotten to dive
Yeah.
into it to really make an educated guess and have like
Oh,
a
yeah,
real
that's
fun
fine.
baseball conversation with it. But there are your obvious mainstays in outfield and infield with your catcher, with your starting pitching. But yeah, what stinks about this bullpen is you have one left-handed option that's a viable option, and that's Blake Taylor.
Well, remember, Matan is also very good against lefties as well. He's good at
Right.
neutral.
Yeah, he is. But what I'm saying is you need you need the left-handed arms. That's why they brought those other guys
Yeah,
in.
but he's good at neutralizing left-handed hitters. So he
Yeah.
basically serves as a second left-handed pitcher.
True. You
So,
still need another left-handed pitcher.
well, yeah, that's why we have Ross Cup and Morgan. They're gonna be here to save today.
But
Dun,
they're on minor league
dun.
contracts. Yes, I know. So it's all good. Hey, you know what though? I think that Eric, this team, even though it has holes in it, I think the guys that are in the places they're in are absolute winners. And even the guys that are the weakest links in this team, no matter what position they're in, they're surrounded by enough veterans and enough good players that actually brings a level of play up. So I don't have as much pessimism or as much worry as a lot of people do with losing Correa, losing Springer, and these other guys. I'm just like, it's just next man up, basically.
I need to correct you on one thing. You did say that Peter Solomon was sent down. He was not sent down. They optioned Jonathan Bermudez,
Okay,
Sean
okay.
Dubin, Tyler Ivan. It was Sean Dubin. So you got
Okay,
confused.
yeah, okay. So I was thinking, I was like, okay, there was all these guys that I interviewed last year. Okay, so it was Dubin and who else? Ivy,
Jonathan Bermudez,
Jonathan
Ivy,
Bermudez. Okay,
and
okay,
they also reassigned outfielder Corey Julks and Scott Schreiber to minor league camp. So after
okay.
he homers, they sent him down.
Well, but I mean, Corey Julks is still a ways away from making it up
Yeah.
here. He has potential. I love him because he's a local kid from Clearbrook High School. Um, the Schreiber kid is definitely a sleeper. So y'all need to pay attention to his name, pay attention to what goes on in Corpus and Sugarland, because you're going to have some guys that catch the attention, kind of like a Toro did, and so yeah, so I wasn't sure about Pete Solomon. I just threw him in there because I remembered it was a bunch of guys that we had on the show before.
All right. So looking at the Hector Neris, I know he's a new guy to the Astros roster. If you look at what's going on, he's trying to make himself familiar with a new team. He's always been with the Phillies organization, and apparently something he does every year is he takes out all the young Latino players to dinner. And he actually tried to rent a big van to take all the players and drive them himself and be like a big Uber driver or something. But the Astros actually organized driving them himself. But he said on Tuesday night, Neris invited every Latino minor league prospect in the Astros organization out to dinner. And so for me, it was something that makes me feel good. It's something I went through, like the process of being a minor league spring training. So I just feel good about being that person that can treat them to a meal when I know they don't have the opportunity to them that they always have. It's something I could do to make them feel good.
Right.
And
And then he goes on. You want me to read that second quote?
good.
He said, I've done it every year in Philadelphia. So when I came over here, it was kind of like, why not continue to do it over here as well? Neris, a native of the Dominican Republic, said he hosted close to 60 of the Astros Latino prospects, both position players and pitchers, at a Colombian restaurant near the team's training facility. Some youngsters peppered him with questions about his mound mentality or pitching grips. He says, not everyone felt comfortable asking me some questions, but I tried to be flexible to them and am available to them when they do want to ask me some questions. Neris crafted this reputation in Philadelphia as a role model. He wants to carry it over. He said that he found time for an interview after holding court around his locker with pitchers like Anoli Paredes, Bryan Abreu, Jose Urquidy, the sort of impressionable minds on which he can have a massive impact. And see, this speaks to something that you and I have both mentioned and that we know because of the people we talk to about the Houston Astros. They get these guys in, and a lot of people want to say, oh, why do we sign this guy? Why do we sign that guy? There's more to signing a player, Eric, than just what he can do for you on the mound.
Right.
It's what he delivers, and pitching is such a mental game. Baseball is a mental game, period. But to have someone like Hector Neris to be giving of himself this way, to me, shows a leadership quality that this bullpen needs, because there are a lot of younger pitchers. And maybe a Bryan Abreu is saved or rescued by someone like a Hector Neris just in 2.5, 3 weeks' time to get him on the ball club.
Maybe. And I think Bryan Abreu is out to win a job this spring training
Oh,
because
yeah.
he was that can't miss prospect, and he's kind of missed. One time he came to spring camp overweight. He was given a chance. He walked to me batter, so this is his chance. And so Neris throws two-seamer, averages about 95 miles per hour. He throws a splitter, a mid 80s offering that neutralizes both sided plate. So he's one of those guys that also can be good against left-handers and right-handers. So opponents did slug 280 against him last year and struck
They
out
did.
53 times. And he induced a 45.6% swinging rate with it too. So he does have some success. He was the Phillies closers throughout his career with them at times. So the Astros have another option in case something happens with Ryan Presley. But there's not going to be a competition. It is Ryan Presley's job. But
Oh,
Neris
yeah.
is there to just say, hey, I'm here if you need me. I'm sure the next guy up would be maybe Matan to get saves.
Or even Stanek. I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
throw him in the
Stanek would
back
be
end.
there. Yeah, Stanek would
So,
probably get first saves.
So Eric, you mentioned Ryan Presley. Let me get your thoughts on this. Is totally like out of left field, but I saw people already mentioning, hey, why don't we go ahead and offer Ryan Presley an extension? Um, Ryan Presley, Eric, to me is one of these guys that you need to keep around for the next few years. Do you think it would be smart for the Astros to explore something like that? I'm not saying it's like you have to do it, but is he the kind of guy that you as a GM or front office guy would say, you know what, we need to start talking about keeping Presley around longer than what he's going to be here?
Yes, but at the same time, he is 33 years old right now. So it's just, I mean, do they want to do that with a 33-year-old pitcher? He does have great spin rate. He does have great stuff. So it just depends on how long he wants to do it. He does have 8 years of service time, but
Okay.
he is a closer. Closers
Right.
aren't cheap. You're not going to go out there and get somebody who can do what Ryan Presley can do. You're not going to Jeff Luhnow is not going to walk through that door and find another Ryan
So
Presley.
that would be right. So that would be, I think, more reason to look at trying to get him while he's under contract here, because typically, if you sign the players early or have them do an extension, you can get them cheaper than if they hit the. Because if Presley hits a free agent market and he's one of the top free agents when he does, here like in a year or two, whenever his contract is up, then I would much rather the Astros try now rather than later. I guess that's why I mentioned it, and I've seen it mentioned on social media here and there. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I agree with that. So he is a free agent in after this season, actually.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hey, let's go ahead and extend him now, or heck, at the All Star
Well,
break, like announce
I
something.
don't think they'll do that. The Astros don't have a history of doing it during the season. So I don't know. I mean, they could come out and say, "Hey, Ryan, you're our guy. We want you to be our closer long term. We want to make a bet on you to be our closer long term. So, would you sign an extension to us? We want to go to BetOnline and sign a long term deal with you. How about that?"
That's right. Well, it's that time of year. Basketball is in full swing. The Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four is right around the corner. The this website, betonline.net, has the latest odds, contest, and player props that you need. It's the number one source for all betting info. It doesn't just have sports scores, it has podcasts, it has news, all going on this season, not just basketball. It also is your continued number one place for sports wagering information, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet online, where the game starts.
Alrighty. And if you want to know about all the future prospects like Franklin Barreto is with the Houston Astros and everybody who's
The
coming up,
next Wander Franco.
yes, go check out the Locked On MLB prospects with Lindsey Crosby. He does a great job talking about all the prospects out there. And so go check him out on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Check him out and check out the Locked On Astros podcast as well. And I just want to, this just came out through Chandler Rome, and I wanted to go and read this to you. And it kind of made me cry a little bit. It's kind of sad. Through an interpreter, Yuli Gurriel said, "I know it's my last year here. For older players, I know it's harder to get deals. So I just came in better shape than before just to be ready."
Why are you saying, Yuli is that you crying or Yuli crying?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
And so then the obvious follow-up question came, "You want extension?" He said, "Of course, I want to come back." So,
But see, here's the thing. Yuli doesn't worry me. I don't think Yuli would play anywhere else. I'll be real honest. I really don't think Yuli would play anywhere else unless, like, you had the Blue Jays come in and swoop in and say, hey, let's have you play with your brother. But all their positions are filled. They have too many superstars on that infield anyways. I think Yuli Gurriel is a perfect guy that you could make a deal because, I mean, when they've signed him, Eric, they haven't broken the bank to get him. You just keep signing them to these sweet deals, these kind of mid-range deals, and I think everything works itself out. Yuli Gurriel, to me, should be one that they prioritize to bring back, and they need to keep him beyond his baseball years. They need to keep him as someone who's an ambassador to Cuba, someone who's ambassador to the various Latino players
right.
from those different areas, the Dominican, stuff like that, because he has a lot of respect, and his name is legendary. Just his name alone gets this guy places. So I really think that the Astros, without a doubt, I would be shocked. I would be more than like overwhelmed with total surprise if they didn't bring back Yuli Gurriel.
Is John Singleton ready to come up next year? Is he the top Astros first base prospect?
What are you? Why are you bringing up this guy? I
No,
almost
well,
called him a nickname.
I'm asking who's the Astros first base prospect out there. I guess we would say Joe Perez.
No, it's Taylor Jones. Taylor Jones is next in line. I'm telling you, Eric, you need to research Taylor Jones. You need to research his
Okay, I'm not
upside.
saying, but he's not the can't miss prospect.
I
So
didn't
what?
say, well, but you don't have it. But just because someone's gonna leave, you know what I mean? You have to have a can't miss prospect.
Well,
You just have to have someone
preferably.
well, okay, but how many times does that happen? You don't have a can't miss prospect for every position. What I'm saying is Taylor Jones, this kid is tall, this kid can hit, this kid can field, he's really smart. I mean, there are a lot of good things about this kid that he's being held back.
Right.
And he is, I'm just telling you, him, if they work Joe Perez out at first, that would also be ideal to have someone else there. But you've got other guys that could come up and fill that first base is not, I think, as difficult a position as a third base, shortstop. Second base is somewhat easy to fill, I think. But first base isn't a tough position to fill. And I think Taylor Jones, you're going to see in the next year or two, is going to get a real shot to be the guy if Yuli doesn't stay around. And if Yuli does stay around, maybe he takes a limited role.
Okay. I with the way he's got 3 hits and with 2 home
Oh,
runs
hey,
in
you
the
know
first
what?
5 games. I know it's spring training, but
Well, here's the thing. I'm all for Yuli for the next 3 years hitting the cover off the ball. Like I would love to see Yuli here. But if for some reason he slows down or some reason he just doesn't want to keep playing, and he wants to move into more of a coaching type role and a mentor type role, I think for right now, it's Taylor Jones. I don't really see anybody else taking that spot other than Yuli or Taylor Jones, to be honest.
All right. Maybe somebody. No, Corey Lee probably just stay in the catching position.
Corey
So
Lee will be a catcher
yeah,
for
I know.
a while.
I know.
Yeah,
I was just thinking there, but somebody who I know that Yuli Gurriel is off to a hot start, but somebody who did not get off to a hot start last year, that's Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker
that's
probably
right.
would have been an MVP if it wasn't for April. April, it wasn't that he struggled. He was actually hitting the ball well. He was just hitting into a lot of bad luck. He was just his first 33 games, he batted 175 with 242 on base, 342 slugging, and overall he had one homer in every 22.8 at bats, which is in a 45.7% hard hit rate. Then in the last 107 games, he batted 329 with a 394 on base, 620 slugging, and one homer in every 15.8 at bats with a 48% hard hit rate. So just imagine what he could have done if he didn't struggle so much. I mean, every player is going to go through that 1 week of, or maybe a couple of days where they're just not feeling it. But he went like almost a whole month where he
He
just couldn't hit. And he said that there's some stuff that he wants to improve upon, but he said that there's some stuff that he didn't do. He's still trying to figure it out. But he said that last year he was trying to press. He became super hyper focused on hitting the ball over the batter's eye instead of trying to pull the ball or go to the left field.
So last year, do you remember who I said was going to be the 2021 offensive MVP for the Astros?
I'm sure you're going to say Kyle Tucker.
It was Kyle Tucker. And when he got off to that slow start, I was really shocked. I was like, wait, this is not the Kyle Tucker I expected. But every ball he hit, Eric, and I remember you and I talked about this. He was getting so unlucky. I mean, he was hitting the ball right to people. He was smoking at 110, 150 miles an hour off the bat, right to people. Then he figured it out. He changed a little bit of his stance. I can't remember if he opened it or closed it because, Jeff Blum pointed it out. And then he lit the world on fire. You're absolutely correct in your assessment. He's in the MVP talk if he doesn't have that first down month like that. He hit phenomenally. And this is why Kyle Tucker has never been allowed to be a part of a trade deal or even in a trade conversation with any other team in the Houston Astros because they knew the value of this kid. Eric, I think this is a breakout season for Kyle Tucker from beginning to end. I mean, and think about how exciting this season could be if you got Kyle Tucker coming out, just lighting the world on fire, and then you've got Bregman also maybe coming out having a career year, and then you've got Altuve who said, "I'm not going to hit for power, I'm hit for average," and then you got Jordan. I mean, this team, and then you got Yuli. I mean, we don't need all 9 hitters to hit. If we got
Right.
6 or 7 solid guys, those other guys can fill in spots when they get them. Yeah, dude, Kyle Tucker's going to fight for the MVP this year. It's going to be Kyle Tucker and Bregman, I think, will be top 10 voting for MVP. At least one of them. If I had to pick one of the two, Kyle Tucker would be my shoe in.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to Kyle Tucker, especially after how he did in his last 133 games. But you know what's weird? How he's like, I don't even consider myself submitted in this lineup. I feel like I have to go to
Wow.
spring training and I have to fight for it. And it
Wow.
helps me to try and improve and get better every day. I don't care what I do in here and what I have to do to, I care about what I do in here and what I have to do to help the team out. So he's not going in there saying, "Oh yeah, I'm the starting right fielder. I'm just gonna loaf through spring training." He's going out there saying, "You know
That's
what? I want to get better. I want to become the best out there." And you know who else used to do that? Carlos Correa. And Carlos Correa was always wanting to be the best shortstop out there. When I did an interview with him when he was still in Corpus Christi with the Hooks, and he said, "You know what? I don't want to be a great shortstop. I want to be the best shortstop out there. I want to play the best defense." And look, he came out and he won the Platinum Award, the Gold
yeah,
Glove
that
Award.
yeah, that I mean, that's huge. I'm totally jealous that you got to get that interview because I've told you many times over and over, I won't say it again, just the stalwart moment he had his rookie year. And that's the mentality you need out of someone like Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker has that mentality, and I love it. Alex Bregman comes out and says the same thing, but he's more intense about it. It's really funny. Like Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman are saying the same thing. Like, I want to keep getting better. I know I can get better and all that stuff. But they approach it from different angles.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about baseball is you have these like this dichotomy of personalities on the field and they put it together. Eric, this is the most seasoned playoff team probably in MLB history. I mean, these guys are just on this playoff run. All they have to do is avoid injuries. All they have to do is do better than they did last year. Kyle Tucker takes out that bad month. And I still think this team has a lot of high hopes.
Yeah. He was doing an interview with Julia Morales earlier, and he was like, yeah, I lost my hat. I can't find my hat anywhere. So he's having fun. This is something that he was not doing when he first came up because he was pressing and he just was struggling. And that's what the players on this team do. If you're pressing and you're just not enjoying playing baseball, you just don't seem to have fun. But when you have fun, you
That's right.
excel. And that
when
Alex
you forget
Bregman,
it's a game, right?
Yeah, when Alex Bregman for the past 2 years, I mean, he may still have fun, but he just hasn't looked like the same Alex Bregman. We'll see who comes out this year. And if Alex Bregman comes out with this cocky attitude, like I'm the king of the world, watch out, baseball, because Alex Bregman will be back. So I believe that's all. You have anything else?
No, just I think as Alex Bregman goes, I think this season's going to go. And I think he's back to having fun again. I think he heard a lot of the criticism. I think he takes things personally, but I think not necessarily in a bad way. And I mean, dude, he's a dad to be. That's a life change. And you and I both know that.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you get a kid on the way, that makes you prioritize things. Stay tuned into Locked On Astros all season. We're going to have a blast. We're so glad that you listen to us. We're so glad that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are really, truly thankful for everyone that listens. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to these two baseball blokes talk about the best team in the land.
And happy trails to Andrew Miller, who negotiated a contract for the Players Association. He was part of the committee. Then he's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with baseball. That is so hysterical. He was part of the committee. Then he's like, yeah, I'm good. Peace out. So happy trails, Andrew Miller. I remember you facing the Astros facing you when you're with the Indians and all that. So enjoy your retirement. We'll see you next year when you unretire. Like that's what everybody's doing now, unretiring. So, all right, we'll see you next week with another edition of the Locked On Astros podcast, and go Astros.